Welcome back to Life's Chillent. My name is Avital, and this week's Parsha is Parshat Tetzaveh. Parshat Tetzaveh really covers the appointment and anointment of the Kohanim, the priests, who would serve in the desert, in the Mishkan, the tabernacle, and ultimately, when we had temple, the Kohanim are the ones who serve in the temple. And so it goes through some of the ritual of purification and of the sacrifices that they have to bring in order for them to begin their service. But the majority of the Parsha is dedicated actually to talking about the clothing that the Kohanim would wear. So it's interesting because in last week's Parsha, it talked very heavily about the construction of the Mishkan, the tabernacle, in such great detail. And this week's Parsha is also incredibly detailed, but rather than talking about the building, it's talking about the garments of the Kohanim. It's talking about their clothing. And what I thought was interesting is in that command, God commanded Moses actually to create the garments for Aaron, for his brother, who was going to be the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, sort of the priest over all the priests. He had special services, special responsibilities. And when God told Moses to do this, he said to make garments for his brother, for Aaron, the high priest, and that they should be, quote, for honor and glory. And I thought that was so interesting, that to say that the clothing that Aaron should wear should be for honor and for glory. And that word honor in Hebrew is kadosh, holiness. It has multiple translations. It could be honor, it could be sanctification, it can be holiness. But I was thinking about what is it about the clothing of the Kohanim that brought honor to what they were doing, that made it kadosh. And it reminded me, that word kadosh reminded me of the last blessing in Havdalah service. For those of you who may be unfamiliar, Havdalah is the concluding series of blessings after Shabbat. So you've had this whole beautiful Shabbat, and then it's the conclusion of Shabbat. Shabbat's ending, it's Saturday night, and you do this Havdalah service. You may have seen it with a beautiful multi-wick candle that you light, and you sing songs, and there's grape juice involved and besamim, spices. It's a really beautiful way to let Shabbat go and return to the week. But that last prayer reads as follows: Blessed are you, God, our Lord, King of the universe, who separates between the holy and the profane, between light and dark, between Israel and other nations, between the seventh day and the 6 days of the week. So it's all about separation. That entire blessing is about separating between those things that are holy, those things that are greater, and those things that are not as great. So between the holy and the mundane, between the seventh day of the week and those other 6 days, so between Shabbat and the other 6 days, between Israel and the other nations, it's all of these things that are a separation, a distinction between what's general and then that elevated holy status of Shabbat, that elevated holy status of service of God. And perhaps the clothing that the Kohanim would wear, it was just for a separation. It was their uniform. It made them stand out amongst all the other people as like, wow, they are serving God. God is king, and these people dress kind of like kings. They wear this crown on their head. They wear these royal, beautiful fabrics, intertwined things of wool and threads, and these garments that are so regal. And these are the people who are serving God. It's a separation from those other people. It's a separation from their other activities. At night when they go home to sleep and they change clothes, they're not engaged in that service anymore. But when they're showing up to serve God, when they're showing up to have this elevated status, they elevate the way they look as well. I was telling a friend recently about how on Shabbat, whether I'm home alone or whether I'm going out to synagogue, I dress up. Because to me, it's a way of elevating the day. And it is a way of that separation, separating Shabbat from the other 6 days of the week. Putting in that extra effort to make yourself look a little bit better because it's the holy day. It's the day where you're connecting closely with God and you're separating yourself from the rest of the world. And I think we can really learn something beautiful from the focus placed on the Kohanim and their separation from the other clothing that they wore, from the other people who are around them. I think we can learn that whether it's with our relationship with God, like, okay, when I'm going to pray to God, I'm going to get dressed a little nicer. Or when it's Shabbat, I'm going to get dressed a little nicer. whether it's actually about clothing or our relationship with God, whether it's about clothing in our relationship with other people, like, oh, for my spouse, oh, for my friend, oh, for work, I'm going to dress up because I want to separate, I want to put in that extra effort. Whatever it happens to be, I think we can learn quite a lesson from putting that extra effort in our lives into different things, into different activities, and how showing other people, be it, again, friends, neighbors, coworkers, family, whoever it is, putting in that extra effort to separate what we've done from what we usually do, it goes a long way. It means a lot to somebody else. I'll give you an example that wasn't relating to clothing at all. A friend of mine recently decided we were going to do Shabbat together, and she went through all the effort of doing the shopping and the preparing and making the food and making it beautiful and making it smell good and making it look beautiful. And she totally could have just gone and picked something up, and I would have been happy with it. I would have thought, oh, that was so nice that she put in that effort. But the amount of effort she went into to make it so nice and to make it so beautiful for Shabbat, when it's just going to be the two of us, it's not like we're having a bunch of people over, was so special and really made me feel like, wow, she put in so much effort just to make something nice for me. And that separation of going that extra mile, putting a little extra effort into something, really can make people feel beautiful and special. And so I think we can all take away from this that sometimes doing something a little bit extra, separating that extraness from the activities that we normally would engage in or the way that we normally would present something or present ourselves, it means a lot. And it really is something that allows something to go from the mundane to the holy. So I hope you all have a wonderful week and a Shabbat Shalom. I look forward to speaking with you next time.